Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Happy Thursday to everybody. Now, since it's Thursday, I think most of you already know what this video is going to be about. This is about purchasing your very first Louis Vuitton and how to make that happen. This is a part of a series, and it's going to be focused on the new side of it. Now, if you're interested more on the pre-love side, hang with me, because as time goes on, I think there's going to be about maybe 3 to 4 videos. We're going to talk about that pre-love section, but for today, we're going to be talking about getting the funds for that Louis Vuitton, and then the very next video is going to be about how to actually make that purchase, whether it be online or going into the boutique. So here we go. There's a lot of information and I want to get through it as quickly as possible. Please forgive me. I have notes, so I'm going to kind of be looking down and then talking up. Here we go. So you know how when you get that the bag that you've been looking for, and it could be a Louis Vuitton, you may already have one. It could also be that you've just seen, a Michael Kors or a Dooney & Bourke or a Kate & Spade, and whether it was on clearance or whether you paid full price, whether you got it in an outlet store or whether you walked into Nordstrom, wherever it was that you got it for a reason. And when you put it on, I love that feeling when I find a bag, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be an expensive one, but when you put it on, you feel absolutely gorgeous. It's a wonderful feeling, and it's kind of magical. So I have to tell you that that feeling is magical, but the road to getting to that magic is not magical. So we're going to talk about very real, very normal things that you kind of need to do to get to that moment. So I hope that you find it helpful. Here we go. The very first thing that you need to do is to set your budget. Now, I say that because some people may want to get into it really quickly. Like they just want to touch and love the LV, and they don't mind, buying something that's a little less expensive, like an SLG. Those things can be a great way to get in and begin to love and enjoy Louis Vuitton. So a wallet, a key holder, that 6 key holder, I can't say enough about if you just kind of want to get in really quickly. That starts, I want to say that, the SLGs start at somewhere around 200, they can go up into the 900s. But set your budget so that's where your focus is. If you're thinking, I like that and I want to maybe go there later, but I want my first thing to be a bag, then you're probably looking somewhere between $1,000 to $2,000. And that's okay. That's like your regular, like we're going to call it like the lower end stuff. We're just going to call the entry level, and then we'll call like the 1 to 2,000s. We'll call that the intermediate. Anything 2,000 and up, we're going to call that the advanced world. Okay. But set your budget, take a look and go, okay, I know that I can play the long game, and I'm going to set my budget for $6,000. That's really fine. Now, I've not done that myself. I don't know that I would have the oomph to go that far. We'll see one day probably, but that's okay if that's where you want to be. If you want to be like, I just want to get into a purse, and I think it's probably going to hang out the 1,000 to 2,000 realm, that's great too. And if you want to do the SLG, that's great as well. Wherever you want to start, that's absolutely fine, because this is going to be something that you're going to enjoy. Pick your budget. Once you have that budget, I'm going to recommend that you spend some time at LouisVuitton.com. It's the best place to begin. Now, if you're starting in the entry level, here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to go, when you're taking a look at, now you could be a guy or a girl, so I'm going to just recommend some basic information here, okay? If you're interested in the wallets, I normally go to the women's section, and then I click on SLGs and I start looking from there. I really wish that Louis Vuitton had kind of like Tiffany's. When you go there on the website, you can say, I'm looking for something a little bit lower than $500. It's really helpful. We don't have that. So I'm going to direct you to sections based on your budget, what you've chosen. So SLGs, women, SLGs. Now, I don't exactly know what it looks like for the guys, but I'm going to guess it's the same kind of thing, probably men and then the SLGs. Now, I also recommend that you could go to travel and then look at travel accessories, because there's some wonderful cosmetic bags and toiletry bags. There's some really great stuff out there at an entry-level amount that I think are absolutely fantastic, and they're on my list. So if that's where you want to go, go. But those 2 places will give you a really great idea of somewhere around that budget, and that's going to take you definitely under the $1,000 mark. So peruse down there, find what you're looking for. If you're looking for something between $1,000 to $2,000, here's what I recommend. I recommend going to women or men, and you can, when you take a look, there's like a handbags or some type of selection like that, and then you'll see something that says a larger selection. Click on that, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to kind of quickly see what's there, and you can look by monetary value, and it will easily help you see the 1,000 to 2,000. I can tell you in between there, you're probably looking for things like your Speedies, you're looking for your Neverfulls, you'll see things like, I think the Alma PM is in there. So those are the kind of things that you're going to be looking at. And for the one that's over 2,000, listen, carte blanche to you. You just take a look all over the website, see where your category is, and write that stuff down, whatever one that you like. I also recommend that while you're looking, because by the way, when I was looking for my very first bag, I spent so much time researching on Louis Vuitton that sometimes it's scary how much I've actually retained. And when I talk to my essay, sometimes she's like, oh, look, you are kind of scary. Like, you know things like, I don't even know that I can retain that much. And she's been there quite a few years, and she's absolutely wonderful. I don't want to take anything from her at all. But I learned enough from the website about what specifically I was looking for. And that was really, really helpful for me. So I recommend that for you. If you're looking around and you go, I really like the Alma PM. And I'm looking at okay, yes, it's in my budget. It's in my budget amount. Great. You may want to go to YouTube, find some really cool gal on there and take a look and see if she's done a review for it. Do a search on Alma and see what pops up, and watch as many as you could. I did. I kind of OD'd a little bit on YouTube and learned quite a bit myself. And between those two things, it really helped me to focus in on one particular item that I was really interested in. And that was actually the Neverfull. And so I'm going to tell you a story at the very end to kind of talk. Please forgive me, my nose is itching. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to touch it while I'm talking to you. So once you've got your budget, once you've decided what you want, lock that down. Okay, make that your focus and try your best not to change it. You did all of that research for a reason. Something spoke to you, and you called that purse by name. So try your best to make sure that you do not change that, okay? So I'm going to recommend that once you go do all of your research, don't go over. Like when you're looking on the website, let's say that you look at the Alma and you go, oh gosh, it's $150 over my budget. What am I going to do? So I'm going to recommend that you took a look at your budget first for a reason. And if it's not in your budget, it's not in your budget. Like I don't recommend that you stretch for it unless it's just $150 and you go back to your budget and you say, okay, I can do that, right? Don't just look at it and then go, I really want that PM, and then just like let your budget blow up on you, all right? Try to stick to that budget versus what you see in there. So that's my recommendation for that. So here we go. Once you pick it out, I want you to figure out your taxes and everything. So you can't just say, hey, I really love this Alma PM and I think it's absolutely fantastic, and my budget was my budget was for $1,500, and it is $1,500, but you didn't account for the taxes, right? So try to make sure that everything is tax included. So give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. And I'm going to kind of go through that right now. So let's say that I'm looking at, let's do a Neverfull. So I'm looking at a Neverfull and I say, okay, a Neverfull is like what these days? I put it down here in my notes. Let's take a look here. So a Neverfull is, let's see, it's about $12.60 for an MM per month, right? And the tax, you can go on the LV website and they will, you know, like at the very end, like you put it in your cart. You don't have to completely check out, but you can say based on your location, it will go ahead and give you your taxes. I love that. I use it all the time and I don't check out. It helps me gauge and get an idea of what that purse is actually going to cost. It's really fantastic. I recommend it. Now, if you happen to be in a country where you don't have to worry about that, that's really awesome. I kind of wish that we did that, but you already know, like, so if it's already built in, it's built in. And I think that that's a really helpful thing. So just make sure you're within your budget, count those taxes in. That's a good way to figure that out, all right? So let's talk about how to actually get the money. Now that you know what it is, I'm going to use $1,500, by the way, because let's say that I did the MM, and I said the Never Full MM, it's $1,260. My taxes ended up being almost $90. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a look at that, and it's like $1,300 and something. I'm going to say $1,500. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I might not be able to pull that $1,500 together within the next month or two. And what if I'm taking a year to get that money together and it goes up in price? Like I don't want to blow my budget just because of a price increase, if that makes any sense at all. So there we go. So get your budget. Pick your purse, check your taxes, get it all together. So here we go. Here is the part about gathering the money, getting it together. Here are some tips and tricks I have used to not only do Louis Vuitton, other things as well. So here we go. PayPal is one of the best things since peanut butter and jelly. I want you to know that if you have a PayPal credit card, and it took me a long time to get to that point, like to think about doing a PayPal credit card, I love it because anything over $99 is 6 months finance free. As long as you pay it off within that 6 months, no finance charges. And by the way, if you are ordering on the website, you don't have a specific SA that you use, you just go to the website, and you can check out via PayPal, depending on how much it is versus how much you have on your credit card. And then you got 6 months to pay for it. Now, if you're that kind of person that knows, okay, I've got $1,500 that I just put on my PayPal account, and I've got 6 months to pay it off, and I have to spend so much every month to do that. That's absolutely fantastic. Make sure you work out that equation. So I can't use my phone, but go ahead and take the $1,500, divide it by 6, and you know what your payments are going to be. And if that's something that you can afford, rock on with that. Do it. It's a great thing. I have used it. I haven't had a problem, but I am kind of disciplined because my biggest fear is that I'm going to get some interest fees. If you're not that person, do not go that route, and let's move on to the next one. You can also do a credit card with zero financing. Sometimes they run things like, oh my goodness, if you spend over a certain amount, so if you spend over $900, we'll give you 18 months no financing. That's even greater, brings your payments lower. Do it if you are a disciplined person. If you are not, and you're the kind of person that has always paid your minimum payment on your credit cards, please do not do that. Don't do either of those two things. And actually, if you are that person and you have a lot of credit card debt, I'm going to recommend that you hold your decision, and then maybe let's talk about some pre-loved prior to going to that, and then working on that credit card debt, because you want to be as low as you can if you're doing that kind of thing. Okay. The next thing that you can do is move on to saving for it. And I know that that sounds kind of like everybody's like, well, just save up for it. You know, and it's not, again, the road isn't magical, right? So I'm going to talk about some things that you can do in order to save. I actually play some games with myself in order to save money for this kind of things. So here's what I do. If you are paying in cash, if you're the kind of person that carries cash around, here's what I'd like for you to do, or here's something that you could choose to do. When I go pay for something, I make a rule that says if I get back $1, any $1 bill or $1 out of everything that I get back has to go in a piggy bank for whatever it is that I want. You would be surprised how quickly that stuff adds up. I have a wonderful friend of mine who, every time that she spends cash, if she gets a $5 bill back, she puts it away and she saves that, and then her family can go on wonderful vacations because that stuff adds up so very quickly. So play that kind of game with yourself. If you could do like like if I pay for cash, whatever change I get goes into a piggy bank, and at the end of a certain period of time, I'm going to take that piggy bank out and I'm going to see what's in there. So I do that. You can also just set aside a certain amount a month. You can say, remember we were talking about the $1,500 that you could spend? You could be your own PayPal account. It just works the other way. You don't get the purse yet, but maybe you have a drawer. Get yourself an envelope, mark it Louis Vuitton, and say, I'm going to give myself a year to pay for this bag. And I'm going to take $1,500 into 12. And if I take $1,500 into 12, that ends up being $125 a month. And I'm going to pay myself $125 a month, and I'm going to take that cash. I'm not going to let it sit in an account or anything where I can just spend it. I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to put it in this envelope marked Louis Vuitton. It's in a very special place, and I'm going to put it there for 12 months. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to have the money that I need for the purse that I want to buy. Or if it's less than that, I mean, you guys figure it out. You do your do the math on it according to whatever it is that you're wanting to purchase. You can pay yourself that way. And I know that it seems like it's a long ways away. I know that sometimes 125 can seem like a whole lot of money. But here's one thing that I discovered early on when I was thinking about doing a Vuitton. I used to be the girl that would go, oh gosh, I'm really interested in that now. Now I understand the history behind it, but wow, that's a really expensive bag. And then you know what I did? I went to a Kate Spade 75% off flash sale online, and I was so excited about it because that's a really huge savings. 75% off Kate Spade, what? You can't say no to that kind of stuff. So I went out there, I bought these two beautiful bags, I got a wallet. I mean, I just racked up. I got so many wonderful things, and I finalized my order. And I took a look, and the order was like right around $500. Like, I know I shouldn't be telling, but there it was. And the funniest thing about it was, I looked at that and went, that's a really good deal for what I just got. And I went, you know what? If you hadn't purchased that, you would be 1/3 of the way to the bag that you've just been looking at, the bag that you wanted. How cool would that be? And so from that point in time on, here's what I did for myself. If I thought about going to a Kate Spade sale or a Dooney & Burke sale or a Tory Burch sale or whatever sale it was, whether I was at Nordstrom or whatever, if it happened to be a handbag, I just said no. And whatever the amount was that I said no for, I put it in my Louis Vuitton account. And I have to be really honest, that account filled up extremely fast. I was surprised at how much money I was spending on these other bags. And that's fine if you want to spend money on the other bags. There's nothing wrong with them. But I was really hoping for a Vuitton. So at some point in time, you kind of got to go, I'm going to let this go for a moment, and I'm going to focus on the prize that I've been wanting. And that's exactly what I did. And every time I said no, I went over there. If I went to Nordstrom and I said, gosh, I really want that new perfume is $80. If I say no to that, I can give myself $80 towards my bag. And that's exactly what I did for a few months. And I'm going to be really honest. I actually did a couple of things, like I skipped a pedicure. And I discovered that I can paint my own toenails, and that's absolutely fine. And no one was the wiser. It was cool. So I would do that on occasion, and I would pay myself about $45, $50 because that's what I spend when I go. And it just added up so quickly. So whatever it is, whether it's, if you like Starbucks, skip a Starbucks for the week and put that money into your LV piggy bank. Whatever it is, whatever changes that you can make, and you will be surprised at how quickly it adds up. I promise you, you will be surprised. So, I got to tell you, here's the next thing. Oh, and by the way, if If you're thinking about a purse right now, stop. Don't do it. Because I think the bags are the biggest thing. I think that as ladies, we can justify a $200 on sale Dooney bag rather than a $1,500 Louis Vuitton bag. Just don't. I promise you that's the easiest way to make up that money. Once I stopped doing that, and it wasn't even for that long. I'm not saying don't ever buy Dooney. I am going to do a video where I show you my Dooneys. I still love them. I still use them. I just bought a couple on my way down to my sister's birthday a couple months ago. So I love them. Just don't while you're saving. That's all cool. So I understand that waiting is hard. Stick to your original item, right? I understand that, you know, you may get kind of sidetracked and you may want to decide, oh, I just want to get something. Hold, please. There is a reason I just did an unboxing of a pochette accessoire. It is because it was farther on my list. It wasn't high on my list. And thank goodness it came in the form of a gift because I still wouldn't have it. So hold firm. Don't just get it to be getting it unless the SLG is what you were looking for in the first place, right? If a lower end is what you were looking for, go there first. Also, I would like to say don't panic. Once you are able to do this one time, you will understand that you can do it again. So don't stress out too awful much. Focus on it, get your budget, pick your purse, do your saving, figure out how you want to do it, whether it's PayPal or a zero interest credit card for a few months, or whether it's the saving, waiting for it, and then getting it. But there are a lot of options out there for you. And I understand that this isn't a magical thing. And I understand that savings is hard to do, especially if you have a family and you're trying to budget for it. But I do promise, like with everything else in life, you will find a way to save for what is important to you. And if at the end of the day you listen to this video and you go, wow, I don't think that it's worth all of that focus and trouble, that's okay. It probably wasn't really high on your heart's desire, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, for the rest of your life, enjoying Dooney and Burke's and maybe continuing to watch my videos about this stuff. But it's okay if you never own a Louis Vuitton, really. People will still be your friends. You will still be a beautiful individual. Life will go on. Birds will still sing. It's not the end of the world. But if some of these things sound appealing to you and sound like a great way to move into your Vuitton, I promise you they really do work. So I know that I've gone really long. I had a lot of information. I hope I didn't lose some of you. Thank you for spending this long of a time with me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You have no idea how much I appreciate each one of you. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please take a moment and subscribe. I hope this is helpful. Tune in next time when we talk about actually making the purchase. Take care, everyone, and have a great Thursday.